Tonight, calls for Wyler residents to help spread the Christmas cheer. And Port Augusta residents get into the festive spirit at this year's Carols in the Park.
With the latest from around the region, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. Wyler's Christmas relief are in desperate need of donations this year, running low on gifts for children aged between 10 to 15. It'll support over 500 parents and carers by providing food hampers and presents.
A Christmas cause in desperate need for the community's help. Centre carers seeking donations from the community for parents and carers in hardship.
What we do is actually join together to be able to provide Christmas hampers to those who are vulnerable and also toys to those who are unable to afford them at Christmas time in the Wyler community.
With 379 children already registered, many families rely on the program.
Bills impact at Christmas time, and having the added expense of perhaps having family and friends come to visit, having children back in their care for a period of time.
The team have purchased over 500 hampers from Food Bank containing a range of family staples.
So you've got milk and juice, some like festive treats, so your Christmas pudding, Christmas cake.
Parents will be able to personally select and wrap a toy to give their child, with a few favourite items up for grabs.
Perfume packs, IT tech type equipment would be really good, headphones, Bluetooth speakers, sporting equipment absolutely goes extremely well every year.
Struggling for gifts in the 10 to 15 age group, the Christmas relief team asked for appropriate donations that do not exceed $30.
We do ask to try and steer away from the soft toys because it does very much only fit a certain demographic.
Drop-off stations are located at both Centre Care offices and the YMCA Rec Centre, with the Christmas relief team grateful for the community's involvement.
Really comes from people who attend on the day, and a lot of the time what we see is people who are sincerely thankful for the support over Christmas.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Augusta's police station was closed this afternoon for around 2 hours after a suspicious substance was handed in. A plastic bag containing an unknown white powder was given to police by a member of the public. The station was evacuated as local MFS and Stirling North Hazmat attended the scene. They were able to safely recover the plastic bag, which will be later analysed. No one was injured in the scare. Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000. A Port Augusta man has been arrested after 2 car crashes yesterday. Just before 2:30 p.m, the 42-year-old man was driving on Back Beach in Port Augusta West. It's alleged he overtook another car before suddenly braking in front of it, causing a rear-end collision. He's alleged to have also assaulted a witness before driving off. He later returned, allegedly driving into a witness's parked car. Police eventually located him and his car at Back Beach, arresting him after a short pursuit. He's been charged with numerous offences and will appear in the Magistrates Court at a later date. The Far West Local Health District says now is the best time for parents to get their children's teeth checked at the Community Health Centre. The building dental clinic currently has no patients on the waiting list.
A great time to get the children's pearly whites looked at.
We're still here and we're still operating. It's important while the holiday season comes up and while everyone's on break to come get your teeth checked.
Since its opening in 2018, the Community Health Centre's dental clinic has seen over 1,300 patients. Oral health therapist Andrew Somerville says the clinic currently has no waiting list, encouraging local parents to take the advantage of the free service for children under 18.
Come the start of next year, it does tend to pick up once school comes back and routine kind of kicks back in. We find that we get quite a bit of a boost at the start of the year.
Today it was 5-year-old Harlow's time for a checkup. Her mother saying getting kids to remember to clean their teeth can be a challenge.
You need to remind them, and it's good to remind them to instill it for further years and adult years to make sure that they carry those good oral hygiene habits on.
Appointments can only be made for the clinic by calling 1300 553 626.
We need to have that number called so we can have our patient details triaged and everybody properly processed. But at the moment, our wait lists are 0 for children, so if parents were to call up, they would get in straight away in the clinic as it is anyway.
During a dental check, all the patient's teeth will firstly be counted and examined. It is then determined whether further treatment will be required. Mr. Somerville recommends regular checkups to maintain oral health. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
UniSA Physio students put their skills to the test, taking part in a clinic simulation in Whyalla, as well as providing them with real-life experience. The program is being used to promote job opportunities in our region.
A fake hospital ward with real-life actors, the perfect setting for a simulation learning experience, helping physio students practice their skills.
The environment's set up to be as close as possible to a real working environment in the health system. In this case, it's an acute hospital ward.
The Whyalla community also getting involved, helping create a scenario for the students.
We've got a number of actors playing the patient, giving the students a real experience in terms of whether their questions are working or not.
The actors also providing valuable feedback regarding their skills.
Mostly we've just been communicating with them and getting an understanding of what they're going through and really building that rapport between the client and the patient.
Some words we might use might actually cause undue anxiety on a patient, so it's really about thinking about how we're communicating and what words we're using to keep them as relaxed as possible.
It's the first time the program has taken place in Whyalla.
The reason we're here in Whyalla is because of the facility. So when we practice in Adelaide, we're not able to get such a close match to the real hospital environment.
The students also learning how to handle specific equipment.
IVs, catheters, wound drains, get us used to all the attachments that a patient might have for us to deal with when we're trying to move them.
The program's aimed at exposing students to a career in rural health, with many of those involved considering the option.
Just have a few years' experience out in the rural community just teaches about how communities work, how people work together, which you don't often see in city areas.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, Port Augusta comes together for carols in the park, and retailers out in force over the weekend to promote shopping locally. Welcome back. Port Augusta has had a weekend filled with Christmas spirit, with the town gathering at Gladstone Square for carols in the park. Last night saw performances from local schools and choir groups, singing all the Christmas classics.
Up and dancing, the Port Augusta Christmas carols getting people on their feet.
But I see the kids are dancing and jumping and everyone is singing, so they're having a great time really.
Widely celebrated in the town, it's been held for over 2 decades.
It's good. It's been going, as I said, on for many years, and there's been everyone from the whole community has been involved, from all the different, not only the churches but the groups and everyone. So it's been really good.
The event a positive way to get together.
We can forget about all our differences and get together for a common cause and have a good time.
Local artists were centre stage, one writing an important piece about our country to remember those in hardship.
A fun song. It's about having fun, but also it's to remember that on our side of the world we have floods and fire and drought and cyclones at Christmas time rather than snow and that sort of thing.
And with the countdown for the big day getting close, school children are getting excited.
Very crowded and loud, and there's lots of candy canes, so I'm happy about that. Have a massive lunch and eat nothing for dinner.
Members of the Desert Choir went a cappella for the crowd. And the message to all with the end of year approaching.
Wish everybody a very happy Christmas and a really safe and healthy New Year.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A new house and homelessness strategy scheme launched by the state government will see $550 million put towards residents across South Australia. The strategy will house the future of communities from 2020 to 2030 and will deliver more than 20,000 affordable housing plans. Premier Stephen Marshall says it'll create more local jobs and give aspiring first home buyers a foot in the door. The Port Augusta Main Street was closed for several hours yesterday to make way for dozens of market stalls. Local businesses who took part in the event have declared the day a success.
Commercial Road was filled with market stalls yesterday as the Augusta markets kicked off. Local businesses opening up for Sunday trade in a bid to highlight the importance of shopping locally.
People don't start looking at, especially small businesses, and shop locally, then you're likely to have a lot of shops shutting. So, most important.
For some, it was a new experience.
It was the first one for me, yeah.
For others, the markets are a way to make a living, hopeful to bring the community out to support them.
Just helps you kind of keep your business alive, and especially at the moment where not lots of people are buying things, so it's nice just for the locals and the smaller towns to get together and do it all, I suppose.
Retailers say they're happy with the turnout.
We sold heaps more than what we thought, like we weren't actually expecting to sell much in the morning, but we sold, a few bucks worth, so yeah.
Oh, it's been good actually. For a Sunday, for a first market, it's been really good.
Many online businesses also opening up for the day, showcasing exactly what they were selling.
Not a lot of people will buy online. They like to touch and feel things, so it's really good to come out and get other local businesses involved as well.
Many are hoping the event will continue, helping get people out and about in the town.
If you don't do it, people say there's not much going on in Port Augusta.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
After the break, we take a look back at the year that was in Port Pirie. And Father Christmas visits a Broken Hill pageant. Welcome back. Tonight we start our look back at the year that was, and we begin in Port Pirie. It's been a year of positives, with the smelter's future secured and the city hosting a pre-season showdown. Shari Ham sat down with Mayor Leon Stevens.
So Mayor Leon Stevens, thank you for speaking with me today. So 2019, what a year. How would you sum it up?
You know, Shari, I think that 2019, we looked at ourselves going into the start of that year and decided that we would like to change the way we do business with our community, and it has been such a positive year for us. There's things that we've done that are far beyond what we've actually imagined, and we're super proud of where we've been in 2019.
So this year we saw a major shareholder take over New Star. Why is this important to the Port Pirie community?
We'd run a cycle with Nearstar, and Trafigura was their major supplier, and they actually come to the party to take out 98% of the ownership of Nearstar. And it's like a fresh set of eyes from everybody. Like Trafigura works differently than Nearstar did, and the community itself, it's such a resounding positive statement. We've got 40 years of future with Trafigura going forward.
So staying on the subject of the smelters, there's been a major drop in lead levels. Is this a step forward for the community?
Absolutely, Shari. I think that this lead in air that we're happening now with us is the lowest it's ever been since the creation of the smelter. And I think that's just a definite point that we're in the right direction.
We kicked off the year with a major JLT showdown. How is the Oval going?
The Oval's far better now than that day. Remember, it's 42 to 44 degrees. Absolute professionals, the way those guys carried themselves throughout that game. The Oval itself, it was March, our launch, and we actually did thousands and thousands of litres just to get the ground up to speed. And since then, it's been such an economic spinner for our community. We've run 2 to 3 major events, and I think they would have brought in probably over $2 million worth of spin-off to our community since it's been operational.
The question on everyone's minds, when will the abattoir start construction and how many jobs will be created?
The development application has been lodged, so we're all clear with that one at this stage. but it will be a game changer. What we need to do in regional South Australia is create jobs, and like quite often, not to the being derogatory to some of our major employers, but we cannot run with one major employer. We need to diversify and making sure that keeps the peaks and troughs at its minimum.
We know that there's been a footpath created between the Crystal Brook Kindergarten and Roseview Hospital. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Peter Locke, from one of the council engineers, had a question from the Crystal Brook Kindergarten about this footpath that they had. They love to go up and visit the old people at the hospital. And then all of a sudden we had a look at it and we found some money in our budget that we could actually do this footpath. So we spent the money, and then the kids wanted to present back to council to say thank you. So we had all of the kindergarten kids from the Crystal Brook School come in and sit in the chamber. They all had a word, and there was a gentleman with them called Gordon, who was in a wheelchair, and just about 90% of the kids said they love going to the hospital to visit Gordon.
Thank you for your time today, Mayor Leon Stevens.
Shari, it's been a pleasure, and thank you so much for actually asking about what we've been doing over this last year. I'm only one person, a spokesperson of council. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the staff and the elected members.
Broken Hill locals have declared Saturday's Christmas pageant one of the best ever, with over 50 floats taking part. The festive convoy rolled down Oxide Street before turning onto Argent, where hundreds of people were waiting. Sporting clubs, local businesses and even the city's primary schools all getting into the Christmas spirit. The pageant finished in Sturt Park, where locals had the chance to buy gifts and presents from dozens of community market stalls. Stay with us, we have a wrap of the weekend's cricket action, and Britt will have the latest weather forecast. Hello again. To local cricket now, and North have ended Central's undefeated start to the season in the recent round of action in Broken Hill. Here's Patrick Reinke with this week's cricket wrap.
Even though it was a low-scoring affair, the top-of-the-table clash between the Bulldogs and Magpies didn't fail to entertain. Central batted first but found it hard to keep the score ticking over. North's bowling attack putting a stranglehold on the Black and White's top order, keeping the score in double digits. Quality fielding also a factor. Jared Paul came in late and started to find runs, but he was soon sent back to the sheds, caught on the boundary line. Tristan Smith also batted well, but again some impressive work in the field saw him dismissed on 23. Cody Howard taking this classic catch. Chasing 100 for victory, openers Tobias Hack and Dan Tabrack put on 42 to control the game. Hack was eventually bowled, Tabrack run out a short time later. The last few runs proved tough to score for North, Central's Tristan Smith taking 5 wickets for the innings. Needing 1 run for the win, Tristan bowled Howard and got an edge off Fella, but the Bulldogs held their nerve and got home with 3 wickets to spare. In the other game, South pulled off a strong win over West. Whipping around the other associations, starting in Port Lincoln, Todd Rivers scraped past Waybacks by 2 wickets, Southern Air downed Lincoln South and Tasman left it to the very last ball to defeat Charlton. In the northern areas, Spalding Boobarawi had a good win and Balali Mananeri did it easy. In the other game, Borough's big total of 210 was too much for Orroroo to surmount. In Whyalla, Scott Collison's 78 not out was enough to give his side Central a win, Rupina also victorious. Wandera smashed Solly North in the recent Port Pirie round, winning by 9 wickets. Proprietary had to work hard to best Southport. In Port Augusta, it was a tight win for Corn and an easy win for South. We'll be back tomorrow night with the other local sport results.
And time to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Britt.
Thanks, John, and good evening. We've seen partly cloudy conditions across the region today with patchy showers about the lower Eyre Peninsula. Broken Hill reached a windy 41 degrees, Port Augusta 33, Port Pirie 31, Whyalla 28, Adelaide 27, Port Lincoln 18. From the satellite, we can see a low pressure trough causing a band of cloud to stream over the region today. To tomorrow, southwesterly winds on the Gulf waters tending to the south with seas around 2 metres. Looking fine about the major centres with a top of 36 at Broken Hill tomorrow. Corn 33, Woodner 32, Port Pirie 31, Port Augusta and Clare both 29 degrees, Kadina 27, Adelaide 26, Whyalla 25, Cleve 23, Coffin Bay 21, Port Lincoln 18. Similar conditions expected throughout the remainder of the week. Port Lincoln with partly cloudy days ahead, tops of 19 across the board. Cleve fine and 23 Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. Woodner also looking partly cloudy with maximums hovering a couple of degrees either side of 30. A sunny Wednesday for Whyalla and Port Augusta, both looking fine and partly cloudy Thursday and Friday. Fine days ahead at Kadina with maximums in the mid-20s. Sunny on Wednesday at Port Pirie, fine Thursday and Friday. Clare, sunny on Wednesday, partly cloudy through the rest of the working week, and a mostly sunny outlook for Broken Hill. And John, that's the forecast. It's back to you.
Thanks, Britt. And that's the local news this Monday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have some updates later. We leave you now with pictures of this year's Christmas lights in Port Pirie. On behalf of the team, it's good night.